Track fans! We're on Sunday Slotcast sessions. Me, Pete Brown, for, well, however long this actually takes. So we're here today to have a little tribute to our fallen friend, Pat Bakkers. And as difficult as this is, he would have wanted the show to go on, and we're going to try and bring him a Sunday Slotcast sessions in a truish fashion. The show is wired to have a memory of my good friend Pat, and I hope you guys find a moment to reflect through the show with different things I'm going to show you, play you. We're going to remember the good times. It's going to be a good time because whilst Pat, actually, Albert, are you in the chat yet? Let me explain. So, for the benefit of maybe some younger track fans out there who don't know, or some people who sort of come in and just watch this show weekly, maybe there are people out there that do that. Had some bad news on Friday. We got where did it pop up? WhatsApp group first, and then everywhere. That Pat Bakkers has sadly succumbed to cancer, prostate cancer. It spread to his liver, and that was what nobbled him at the end. Now, Pat was a genuinely decent guy. You know, there's very hard to find a few of those people out there these days. Like my first, while people populate into the show, I just share my first experience with him, and then we'll get on the go saying hello to the chat. Then we'll work through the show, and you'll see as I unfold it what I mean, where we're going to do a show, but in memory of Pat. So, I remember the first ever time that we corresponded, he'd sent me an email, and it was on the 8th of August 2023, which is literally March, April, May, June, July, 6 months after I started doing this show. So he would have probably watched the show 3 months before reaching out. It's generally a gestation period. And he says here, he goes, yeah, Pete, I'd like to send you, I've been thinking, I'd like to send you a small gift to say thanks for making the Sunday afternoon Aussie time a real pleasure. I know you do it for you love it, because you love it, and you're a humble man, but I don't care. So send me your P.O. box and address. That was the thing. He didn't care. He just come over and he was instantly in your life. There was no messing about. And man, what was that? So that's year and a half that I'd known him. Absolutely crazy. But he was genuinely genuine. I remember he wanted to send, when he got wind of Lee slot cars, and Lee had some cancer too, and touch wood, has survived his. And he wanted to send Lee a car to say, you know, get well, be strong, just a testament to the character he was. Now, he does live on. He does live on. He is around us. He is checking out everything as we go on. As you can see, we're just there hanging out on the Blues Brothers vehicle. He's there, which is actually, if I flip back, just to the left of me. So he's actually staring me down right now, making sure I do this show, and that we don't fall into the trap of letting it get under our skin too much. It's good to grieve. It's good to be emotional, and it's good to, you know, remember. But I think and this is what I've been telling myself all weekend. So, you know, if you tell yourself it as well and it works, it'll be great. But generally, he would have wanted us to crack on. My thoughts, my feelings, and my heartfelt condolences go out to Katie and his family. Of course, no one needs that. Absolutely, yeah, sad. So, to you guys. All right, let's get in. Let's say hello to a few people, then we'll crack on with the show. We'll bring a few things up that we can get on with. So we'll start at the top. Morning, Rob. There he is. Tara, Ted, over in America. Nice to have you. Dick, good morning. Good afternoon to you. So we look here. We take proper time frame. We've got a good morning, a good evening, and a good afternoon. That's what this hobby does. Is it brings the whole global time frame together. And you've got people with interests all over the place, and then you get people that glue these people and these communities together, and that's what we're looking at this morning. That's the power of what Pat did. But what I didn't do before I started calling out names was that gift that Pat wanted to send me transpired to be these two cars here. So I'll start with this one, which is Dodge Challenger. So a load of people are crying because I had to look at that now. So Dodge Challenger, Scalextric, of course. There it is. There's the colours. So I like that one. That is super cool. This one, right? Don't tell anyone, especially not Pat, that this ended up on the floor so many times and it still works. Genius car. But this one has got to be my favourite. This one was my favourite one. This is the Javelin, I think. Yeah, this AMD Javelin. That's how good this car is. I actually know what it is. And this works and there's a sound. So, Scalextric, you've got to look into the sirens. We want sirens on police cars. That's what we need. So there you go. That was they were the gifts that Pat sent me for doing this show. Something I love to do, and he felt the need to give me a gift. That was the irony. That was one of the earliest experiences I ever had of somebody actually sending me a gift on the show just because I do the show or I do my channel. Really surreal, but actually reading his words, it meant something to him. It's crazy. Oh, just one other thing. So obviously I'm gonna slip up. So I've bought some change to pop into the charity box. All right, so cool. I'm gonna keep this together. All right. Good morning, Fawn Dog. How you doing? Good morning, DeFingers. Good morning, Fox and Walls. How are you, Bryce? 11:30 to you. So 11:40 now. Keith. Good morning. He's up. He threatened us last night. He said, "I'm going to get up in the morning." Oh, legend. And he did. He did. He goes, "I'm just having a few beers." It can always go wrong on a few beers. Good morning, UC. How you doing, my friend? And oh, nice, Road Tramp Stew. There you go, mate. All right, here we go. Harry, good morning, and Jamal, good morning as well. Well done, coming in hot, coming in thick and fast, which is good to see. Good morning, Carl. And Doug, good morning. Wow, we're all up. Good evening. Here he is. I've been waiting for this. I knew he would be here. How you doing, Rahul? You all right, brother? Great show yesterday. Great show from the guys at Saturday Morning Tunes, which is Rahul, Joe, and Pete. Magnet Pete, that is. I'm UK Pete. He's Magnet Pete. Oh, my word. Okay, let's get down there. Mark Petch is in. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Anders. How are you? Good morning, Graf. Okay, so awesome. Good morning, Richie. Yep, we're having a tribute this morning for Pat Bakkers. Sadly passed on Friday. We're going to cover it all this morning and just have a celebration. Good morning, Chris. How are you? Okay, right. I think I'm relatively caught up. Good morning, Reese. Yes. Okay. Sound. All right. Let's have a look then. Right. There's going to be a lot of people watching in the wings today as well. Too. Maybe it's too much to come into the chat. I totally appreciate that. It is a tough pill to swallow. But let's do it. Let's start thinking about when was your first ever encounter with Pat? What was the thing that brought him into your uh, brought him onto your radar? Like I said, for me, it was that email that I read out at the top of the show, or most of the email that I read out, where he enjoyed the Sunday show. It's the afternoon for him, so it'd be 4:30. We're in Australia, and he would go. It was Ace Pete. He goes, I get my tea, then I'd sit down, I'd watch you with a beer, with a cigarette, and I'd just enjoy the banter, the laughing. He goes, and actually, just on that note, it increased. So as we were going on with the show in January last year, I won't read out the email, the contents or anything, but he wrote to me and he was really concerned. He said, "Look, Pete, I'm really concerned about these people that are doing sexual innuendo. You can work out what that means in the chat comments, and I don't think it's right with the young kids and stuff." And I said, "Oh, right. So I'll tell you what, Pat. Do you want to keep an eye on it for me?" And he was one of the very first people who moderated the live chat for the channel. It was at that point there where I issued out blue spanners. So Pat was one of the first and original spanners. And he relished off of it. I mean, never seen Dick and Tara pulled into line quite so quickly after that appointment. But he was always always looking out for the community. He was always there. And yeah, good morning, Daz. Nice to have your company in the background. I'll be descriptive with the chat, with the conversation, so you get an idea of what pictures are on the screen in a little while when I start that banter off. Do drive safe, my friend. Nice to have your company. I didn't think you was going to make it, but I'm really, really glad that you're here with us. So Dick's saying he saw his name here. As soon as he knew Pat was an Aussie, he had to say g'day, and the rest is history. Yeah, I think so. I think so, mate. I think that's the rest is history is exactly right, because once you knew him, it was hard not to know him, you know? It's hard to undo how he just generally made people feel around his presence. So, saw this bloke with a big beard and a hat talking about slot cars, said Greff. Hadn't seen him before, but loved what he did. Yeah, I know. And Tony Droney, mate. You guys are extremely close to him, which we'll cover later. And yeah, feelings out to you guys. Yeah, especially you, Hub, Hughesy, Dick, and Dave, UC Slot Cars, because you were his inner circle of trust, if you like. We all have mates and stuff across the wider world, but there's a small syndicate that are, let's say, patriots to yourself. You know, there is no filter. You can literally say what you want. You ain't getting cancelled because people know what you are and who you are, and that's what you guys had. That's what you guys had. Cribbit, he always brought the biggest smile and always brought the biggest joy. Absolutely right. Totally right indeed. You know, and like I said, he's always going to be with us in and around various tracks. Like you see here in the Blues Brothers track, he's just overseeing the show right now. You know, he's going to be somewhere. Now, I am not religious, as you know. It's not that I don't do religion before, you know, everyone kicks off. I did actually, you know, look into it a little bit when I was like in school and stuff, but just not for me. I am a bit of a spiritualist. So I do have it on authority, like the afterlife and stuff. So I do know, and I have a feeling deep down that he's sat there, wherever he is, wishing us best, looking down, getting his fix of Sunday slot car sessions, me, Pete Brown. And as Dave says, Pat's always been a part of Slotars channel since he pretty much started it. He can't remember a time where he didn't comment on a video. Absolutely. And Harry says, first notice Pat here in the chat. Loved his crack with Tara and Dick. Yeah, there you go. See, that's exactly what he was on about when he wrote to me. Yeah, we did share. We did all voice message and stuff. It was great. It was great. So this is the shittest, isn't it? So Carl says, loved watching his first videos where we also enjoyed running trains. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He loved the trains as well. Loved this table with slot cars, train tracks, and his shout outs. His weekly roundups will be forever in history. So Tony comes back, says he cherished all the voice messages from Pat, and many others will too. He did love a good voice message. To be fair, I'm kind of coming round to this now, Tony, because who does it all the time? I tell you, who used to do it all the time. Travis used to do it all the time. And you write him like War and Peace on a message, and your thumbs are breaking with arthritis, and then it come back and go, yeah, cheers, mate. And like, is that it? I've just spent like 10 minutes writing a message, and you voice messaged me going, cheers. But yeah, there you go. Uh, exactly. You are the culprit, Tara. He was having You love. So I was having banter with DG and Pat put her in timeout. That's right. That's when he got the power of the spanner. After he messaged me and said never change. He just loved to watch Pete Corpse online with you and Dick misbehaving. Yeah, that's right. That was his anarchist side. Ted says he met Pat right here on the show a long time ago. And Fox and Walls says he's looking at us with a dart and a chainsaw rumbling behind him. Yeah, absolutely. Chainsaw. Well, I'm going to share a few of my favourite moments with you guys later. And, I'm going to give you a little bit now. The chainsaw does appear because, who's not going to love, especially me, a guy running around with a chainsaw that's actually on. And I'm like, Pat, just stand still with the freaking chainsaw, man. And he's running up and down. And he's like, hey, yeah, River, what are we going to do? And it's so brilliant. Oh, man, that was so good. Oh, mate. So good. So mega credits to the Oz guys like Bonza. We got Pat's routed track up and running for him. Yes, you did. I bought him. It brought him so much joy in their weekend videos. That was so cool. Such a cool thing to do. The first time he messaged Rahul was after a shenanigans show. Brilliant. He did like shenanigans because it was the time that he could hear Rahul and I be a little bit more controversial, like on this show, because it's based for kids mainly. This show, we keep it like kind of tongue in cheek, good slapstick comedy. Nothing, the rules, the pillars of the community. We've obviously, we do test and measure. We dropped one of the rules this year. We can talk about Revo slot Datsun 510. Wow. Do you know how much it's cost me in therapy to be able to say that in one sentence without So Pat used to love the Shenanigans show. That will be on this Thursday, pending. We don't know yet. We're going to discuss it. Should go ahead. I think it's going to be nice, but we'll get into that another day, won't we, Rahul? Anyway, his poop shoot video with his daughter Ebony. Yeah, that was iconic. It was one of our firsts. Yeah. So you see, I never used to voice message till Pat. The most voice messages I've ever done are from Slot Car Hub and Pat. Yeah, Tony. That's what we're about. We got some stuff to look at in a minute, and we're gonna blap through that, and and it'll be a nice thing to have all in one place. Now I've made the show specifically when we get into it in a minute. I've made the show because there's been such a wide outpouring of love and affection and these good moments for Pat that I wanted to pull it all into one place so that as I come back to reflect, and if I have a moment and want to think and remember about Pat and just raise a smile, and that's what I'll do. I'll come back to this show, I'll let it roll, and there'll be ample time and things on here that are just, yeah, it'll make sense. Yeah, I think we all do need one of these little miniatures of Pat knocking around. It'll be good. Right, let's get into it then. Come on. We wanna have our memories, and we wanna do our man who's upstairs proud. No one wants to be going upstairs. And the last excuse me, apologies. The last voice message, do you know what I mean, Tony? The last voice message that I got from Pat was actually I'll get the date right on this. It was the 4th of February. And I'm not playing it, don't panic. That would be a bit too much even for me. But yeah, he said to me it was after his last bout of chemo. He'd gone for the tests where they told him that it wasn't going to work out. Let's say, and even in that message, he's laughing. He says he's in God's hands now. In fact, he said to me, he says, "Oh, hi Pete, yeah," because I'd sent him a message to ask him how it went, and so obviously the time difference. So he's woken up, got the message, sent me a message. I've woken up, got the message. He's so disjointed chatting to people in Australia, and I'd asked him how it gone, and he'd said, "Pete, you know, I'd got up this morning. I've had a good meal." And I feel all right, and I'm going to race some laps. Oh yeah, the tests weren't that great. He goes, it's not good. He goes, I'm in God's hands now, but I've got some laps to do later. I've got things to do. The guy's like just been delivered the news, let's call it, and he's on about what meal he's had. He's on about going racing some laps. What a guy! What a guy! So So, what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd pull out a couple of the things that stood out to me from Pat in terms of what he'd been doing, what drew me into him. Apart from him watching my show and us getting to know each other via email, there were a few standout moments for me. So, what I'll do in the caveat on this one, like, is I will say that I've put these points and things together based on things that have resonated to me in particular. So there are going to be things that I've not put in here that might have resonated to you. I'm sorry about that. I know it's sensitive, and I know that everyone has their moments. But look, I'm going to do the best I can get through this with you guys. So, Pat, first off, fishing. I mean, that was the thing about Pat. He thought outside the box. In fact, there was no box with Pat. There was a plastic bag because it moved in ways that a box doesn't move. We all sit in our boxes and we all do our tuning videos and we do our live streams and we do our shorts and our community posts and we have like our structures and we have our formats and all of this. Pat didn't. He had a carrier bag full of water and it was fluid. He would see an idea and put it into slot car language and then deliver it on screen and put that pat sprinkle of sparkle in it that just got us all to crease up and wet ourselves royally. Just so good. So why is this not messing up here? There you go. That's a bit better. I'm covering his face. Unbelievable. Um, Hilarious. Yeah. Jamal remembers that video. Um, Chris, I think, is religious. He says, yes, I think Chris is. I've seen him do a post before about God welcoming Pat upstairs. And you know what, Chris? I really, you know, I hope he does. I totally hope he does. Well, no, I know he has. Because everyone's faith is different. I always say, in times of big trouble, I always say to people, whoever's your God, it's time to pray. So that was one standout moment for me. The fishing trip was just genius. And he ended up catching a couple of Revo slots at the end. Oh, Pat, come on, mate. And then it had been floated earlier in the chat before. My other standout moment for Pat, there's another one after this one, was the poop shoot. Ah, this is so good on so many levels. Because I tell you what, let's just take a break a second. We'll come back to this in a moment. Okay, I'm back. That's better. So I might need to do a snap advert through the show. Apologies for that. Just need to get my shop in order so I can deliver a show. Falling apart here. Yes. So this was an epic thing on so many levels that you don't realize. So to the naked eye, exactly. There you go. To the naked eye, this looks just like somebody's correcting Hughes over his poop shoot video. So the poop shoot video brought out by Hughesy was all about doing like this kind of rickety old like coal tunnel, coal mine shaft tunnel down. Love the pictures of Negan, by the way. He's one of my favourite ever on screen personalities. um, he called it the poop shoot. So Pat then went, no, that's not a poop shoot. A poop shoot's found on the back of a prawn, and therefore proceeded to do a video to show us exactly where to, how to get to and identify the poop shoot. And but more to the point, right? This is what I call healthy trolling. So obviously we have an issue with trolls and stuff on YouTube and the social media. Rob Swift Slots has just got himself a troll. He's found himself a hater. So Pat found a way to take the mickey out of somebody royally, but actually pull it off and get everyone to to think that is brilliant idea. He's absolutely taking the raging Michael, taking a Michael out of Shane here in an Aussie banter way. There's nothing malicious in this at all, but that was hilarious. Just and there you go. Like going back to my plastic bag with water in it. He doesn't think inside the box. I mean, this guy's getting food product out on the channel and going at it. Genius, Pat, genius. He's setting it aside. And then, of course, moving into what we discussed a little bit a moment ago was one of my all-time favourite, probably my favourite moment of his on screen ever, being a bit of an anarchist myself, was was when he got a chainsaw out and he's legging it up and down his unit, his warehouse, his let's call it a shed. Utter genius. Oh my goodness. Right. Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice thing to do, Rahul. Rahul's made an hour-long recording of all of his voice messages so that he can constantly feel back and feel presence and be a part of it again. And that's the thing. You could quite easily get an hour's worth of voice messages from from knowing Pat. only for 3 days. But that was the kind of guy he was. So that is a good idea, actually, Rahul, because sometime there might come a time where you're not able to get those messages. So to be able to have those messages down, no, I might do that. I might do that, actually. That's such a nice idea. Um, Hugh's visit to Pat's place was awesome. Pat took Hughesy around his property and they got up to all sorts, says Doug. Oh, absolutely. Hugh's trips to Pat's and the property tour with Pat was one of my favourite videos, says Harry. Pat even had Scalextric respected him, as he said they were a bit hit and miss, and his bagging of Simus, priceless. Exactly. You know, he had a very decent way of saying that, you know, you're not performing, and getting the people that he's directed it to actually say thank you for it. Much better diplomat than me. I mean, if you cast your mind back over my diplomacy on Sockgate, my God, did the internet break when that happened in Scalextric's office? Or even better still, diplomacy 1-on-1 for I'm going to throw Rahul under the bus with me on this one. When we did that first ever shenanigans show, and we had what's his name on there? I can't even remember his name. That guy who kicked off royally. He's gone now. He's closed down and everything. But yeah, completely ignorant twat. So hang on. I'll give myself £2 for that because that was swearing and insulting. But he did press my buttons the wrong way. Richie says people coming into your lives and touch you with passion and enthusiasm, but when they leave us, we need to hold on to that bond and take it and share it with others in your life. Do you know what? That last sentence, you need to take it and share it with others in your life. I heard that last night. Keith said that last night, and I thought that was extremely powerful. Nice thing to say that was, mate. There is one thing to sort of talk about and move into, though, while we are chatting through, you know, the sort of bits and bobs where Pat come into my life and how he's affected things, how he's made it for the better. Yeah, do you know, like Slot R saying diplomacy is a word he's heard of. Yeah, yeah, it's one of those things where you say, yeah, so I don't know, something controversial, and then you put the end of it, just asking for a friend. That's who talked about diplomacy, weren't it? It was that friend. Some friend said about it. Oh, I love it. Oh my good lord, was that a spicy red light? That literally broke the internet, man. Like everyone went off on that one. We had people like doing the wrong sort of trolling and everything. Chainsaw Paul, I'm with you, mate. I'm on your level on that one. He got here. Oh, I'm just adjusting my screens underneath because what I don't want to do is have my head over an important part of the next slide or the slide or the slide. I know you know that makes sense. So what we had right was Pat got himself developed a little bit of a collection in the later stages of his life, and I'm telling you now, it is a collection that you just cannot buy. You cannot buy some of the things that people did or sent to him just to give him that extra little boost through his darkest moments. And it's like the Olympics coach, right? I remember for the Olympics, was it 2012 where we had it here in the UK? Where I think it was 2012. We had the Olympics here, and they were interviewing the English swimming coach or whatever coach it was, thousands of them, and they said to him, you know, the Olympics has come round really quick. You need to get your athletes aren't performing. You need to get an extra 10%. But these guys are literally at their peak. How do you get them at 10% when they spent the last 4 years training to this 1 week to be at their peak? So he said, what we do is we do a lot of little things that will give them 1%. So when we're away, we'll give them one phone call to their to their family a day. It gives 1%. We'll let them bring in their own duvet and quilt set rather than using the ones provided. So they feel comfortable. We'll give them an extra percent. So we're up to 2%. Then we'll give them a nutritional treat rather than a nutritional diet amongst their diet. That'll give them 2%. So they've got 4%. And they put in all these little things added up and it give him 10% and he won medals. And they interviewed him afterwards and they went, "Where did you learn to do that?" And he said, "My dad told me." He said, "When I was studying for exams and I broke down because the pressure was too much," young track fans, he said he put into place all these little things for me that give me that extra 10%. So everyone around Pat, everyone around Pat had given Pat an extra 1%, 2%. I firmly believe that I don't know how to say this without sounding insensitive. I believe he lived as long as he did. That's a good way of putting it, because of all of you people around the world and myself giving him those little bits that he could cherish, take, enjoy, and share. I think we give him extra time with his family. Talking about family, he was a family guy. He loved them. He would move heaven and earth for these guys. Even right in this picture here, he had banter. We've already talked about his banter. We've talked about his little mischievous anarchist streak, let's say. So in this picture here, you see where he's taking a kind gift from Magnetic Racing, who sent him a box of goodies to keep him occupied and keep him positive and keep him in slot cars. These guys, he just thrown the sweets to his son. So they're all the ladies in the house are like, "What? We've been done by." And he's like literally laughing his butt off in the picture there, thinking, "What have I done?" But he's so happy for this picture, for this present. He didn't know any of this stuff was going to turn up. And just, you can see it in someone's eyes if they're happy. You can see it. You can see their soul. And you know deep down if someone's happy or if someone's like, "Yeah, that's nice," and then they put it down behind the fruit bowl, you know. Um, so yeah, so look, Ian, Doug, Timmy, as we say, what you did mattered. It really mattered. And he would always send me a message after he got something. He'd be like, "Oh, Pete, mate, Pete, you never guess what? The boys at Magnet Racing, man. They sent me so much stuff." He'd go and he'd be like bemused by it. He wouldn't understand. I think that's it, actually. I think that's where Pat and I are very similar, is he didn't understand. He was so good at giving out love and praise. It felt awkward when it comes back at you. You don't know how to deal with it. And I think that as time went on, he become used to it, and it used to really give him that buzz. It give him that extra percents to carry on, to push through. What a fighter! What a fighter! There you go. Right, composed. I'm back. Okay, so another gift that he got was out of this world. It was from Harry over at Home Racing World, Harry Wise. And, you know, if there's ever a car you want to receive from someone, maybe next to Rob Swift, the Swift slots, it would definitely be one of the few guys that I'm going to put up on the screen over the next few slides. So Harry sent, and look, let me be straight up and open with you. A lot of people sent Pat a lot of gifts. There is so much generosity around the world. I've only pulled out a few. Okay, so if you send them something and it's not here, it's not because I don't like you. It's just want to keep the show as robust as possible, but also um, just yeah. So there's nothing in it. It's just the ones that I've picked out, and here we go. So yeah, so Harry Wise has tuned up a car to an inch of its life here, that you can see. Signed it, got it over to him. Look how flat them wheels are. I mean, those wheels are flatter than a pancake that I would have loved to have had on Tuesday if I wasn't ragingly ill. It's a Fly Porsche. Yes, thank you. Good on you guys. Thank you for supporting the chat. That does mean something. And so awesome. I mean, this is a guy in America, and you got to remember, like, these guys have, yeah, they don't need to do this. I mean, they don't need to do any of this. This is what he did. And, you know, Pat didn't build cars, he didn't tune cars. So technically, there's absolutely, really not that much, you know, like real in the detail. It was a hobby thing, you know, and that's what we try to do in the community. Is we try to say it doesn't matter if you're into your tuning and I'm into, I don't know, Scalextric cars, because it's the stark opposite. We both love running cars in the track. That's good enough for me. You're my mate, and vice versa. And then over time, you can enrich yourself and explore into different things, and you can find out, you know what, might not be for me after all, you know. So if I take a look at the next car with you guys, so keeping it in tune, you know, Harry's right hand man, Shotgun Dave. Wow. I mean, just wow. I've established now that getting round to doing a brass chassis and building that, or using piano wire and getting a soldering gun on it, that's going to take me. I'm not there yet. I might get to it when I've got other things not to do. So I appreciate this, because this is engineering ultimately. It's not, you've gone past building for sorry, you've gone past building slot car. That's where I'm going. To lose my train of thought here. You've gone past slot car building in this aspect, and you've gone into mini engineering. Really good. I thought this was quite nice. I was just reading this one out here from Dave. He wants to shout out to Harry Wise for keeping him in one piece. Wise by name, wise by nature. Fantastic. And I love that saying. Pat started off running magnets and become a magnet for the people. That there's got to be a T-shirt in there somewhere, hasn't there? Brilliant. Okay, so let's take a break on this for a second. Let's just run through a couple of comments, because I know that you guys are taking a moment to actually write down some words, and you know, I wouldn't expect this to get back to Pat's family, but you know, if they do ever get to see this chat section, they're not going to see this instantly. This won't pop up in their feed probably until for another 12, 24 hours, because it kind of gestates and YouTube does its thing. So if they come back tomorrow, then all of these comments will be populated into the live chat, and you can scroll through and see some of the beautiful messages that you guys are putting in, like this one here from Richie. Prayers and condolences, his entire family during this sad time. Very good indeed, Rich. Thank you. So Ebony is in. Oh, good morning, Ebony. Good afternoon, even. Nice to have your company. Thank you very much for joining us. So sorry for your loss. What a guy. What a guy. But we're just going to plow through and remember, if that's okay with you. Excellent. Blimey. Dick's just informed me they're all watching. No pressure. No pressure at all. But anyway, no. Um, I hope you guys are doing all right. Look at that car, though. Let's get back to the cars. Pat wants the show. Let's have the show. Shotgun Dave. Wow. The detail on it is incredible. Now, I did want to ask, did George at Area 51 have some input into this car? Or was this all you, Dave? Just because I see the sticker on the side, and I know that George is a little bit of a dab hand with the old brass chassis. You know what I mean? So I thought I'd ask. But yeah, look at that car. I mean, seriously, you can't buy this. You can't buy it at all. So there is another car coming through. I'm really pleased that we've got Pat. Here he is holding it up, modelling it for us. Look at that fine beast there, and the two cars. But no, what a guy! And look, this is what I was saying earlier. When you can see in someone's eyes if they're genuinely happy with what they've got, what they're doing. I've got to move my face out into the bottom corner here because this has come from Slotar all the way from here in the UK. The previous two cars had come from the USA. Sorry, the USA. And check out these from Slotar. If you look, this is what I'm talking about. This isn't just the car that Slotar's thought about, oh, yeah, no, I'll just whack this one over to Pat. This has come with some thought. Because if you see the picture of Pat in the top right-hand corner, you can see him wearing the John Deere race hat, the hat. Therefore, what Slotar's done is he's remembered this. He's remembered his conversations, his voice chats with Pat over the time that he's known him. And it's the little things. It's like a good relationship, like the little things, like leaving the toilet seat down in the middle of the night when you've been so that your wife doesn't come in and sit straight on the porcelain. Yeah, we've all been there and we've all heard that shriek in the pitch black of the middle of the night. All right. So little things, people. So yeah, and that's what Dave Slotar is good at. He's my compassionate sounding board, to be fair, a lot of the time. If I think I'm being a little bit too hard-nosed, right-wing, bit like uncompassionate, look, compassion is different for everyone, is the nicest way to put it. But some people have it in abundance, and some people have it when it smacks you in the face. So he has it in abundance, and he just like looks and takes note of what makes people tick and things. So you can see here, he's absolutely given him the nod and said, I know what you're into. I'm going to send you something now that is going to give you 5% out of the 10%, because he's not building you and sending you a car. It's building you and sending you a car that matters to you as a person. You love John Deere, and I'm going to get you something that means something to you. Brilliant gift, Dave. That not only is it a freaking mega car, spray job, wheels, tuning, the full works, the full Monty, as we say here in the UK, has gone onto this car. And he knows it. He loves this car. You can see it here on his track. It was literally box to track. It weren't box, kitchen table, make coffee, go mow the lawn, nip out for some shopping, come back, consider it. Yeah, I'll do it on the track. It was box, track. Katie must have been like, hang on, I'm sure Pat was just opening something here. Where's he gone? And then you can hear where he's ragging that car around the track, trying to get it shiny side up, as he would say. But then if you look at the other car that Dave sent, you might have noticed the Spud. The Spud. That just, again, plastic bag fluid, thinking, not in the box at all. Who comes up with making a spud for a car? Hilarious, genius. But then it ripples out. I mean, it was Rob Swift. He challenged Rob Swift, I think was the way the story went. But please do correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or the comments as you're watching this. I think he'd said to someone like Rob Swift, you need to make a potato car. And then proceeded to do some lab experiment where he was growing potatoes. This is Pat. Pat was growing potatoes, all for a joke, obviously, just in case young track fans. Good morning, Gaz. I see you just turn in. All for a joke to be able to send Rob the potato to modify into a slot car. But you snooze, you lose. Old Slot R done it, didn't he? He got it. He did the spud car. Well, that was like red rag to a bull then, because Pat was obviously sending Rob Swift voice messages challenging his masculinity over vegetable and fruit and vegetable cars. So then Rob went ahead and did his old banana car, which ended up getting shortlisted for the annual slot car awards in December. That was fantastic. That was my nomination, the banana car. But yeah, so he was a good time guy, was Pat. He was always up for the crack, as Harry would say, and just loved his cars. So then the next car he got sent was actually from our group here, Track Fans TV. Keith in our group come up with a phenomenal idea of how to get all of us involved, because we're a members group. So there's at any time between, I don't know, say 20 to 40 people in the group as members. What do we do where we can do something collectively quickly? Because obviously, unfortunately, time wasn't our friend in this situation. So what we've got going on was we had a couple of things. So if I talk about, I've joined in Tara's gift here as well, because what we do is we're obviously very tight over here in the UK. Tara wanted to do something as well, as we've discussed. Her and Dick were literally the reasons that I created moderation in the live chat, spurred on by Pat, of course. So she's sent Pat a load of figures to dot around his track, decorate, have a good time with, just bring a bit of pizzazz, a bit of colour, a bit of life in there. And it was phenomenal, a phenomenal gift from a phenomenal person. Tara, well done on that one. That was a lovely thing to do. It's a 1%. And then obviously you got the Pat 1 car, which is on the left there. We needed Keith come up with the idea. And I'll be honest on Keith's behalf. He was blind raging drunk when he had it. He needs to drink more often if he comes out with these genius ideas when he's plastered. Because what he said was, why don't you get the Fab 1 car? Because it's big. It's like a boat. Because it's big enough. And then we can do signatures and we can put him on the car. Oh, yeah. And Pete, you're doing all that, by the way. So then Aid from Aid Slot Car Shed, another YouTuber, but a member of the group, great guy, good friend. He said, I've got Fab 1. I want to donate it. I said, no, look, I'm going to ask Scalextric to send me one because we have a relationship. And when I tell them what it's for, they would absolutely send it, because those guys, even though they're a big, mean corporate, they actually are quite empathetic in the marketing team. They actually do. No, they're really good in there. So they would have sent one. I did say to Aid, I'll replace it. And he said, you can't replace it now, which was a nice thing to say. It is irreplaceable, his car, because his car has come over, got souped up and done up, and then did all the decals, and we got it over to Dick. Sorry, we got it over to Pat. I was just distracted by some of the decals. And he goes, and then we got it out to Pat, and I was getting worried because when Slotard sent his, I'd said we'd sent them 3 days apart. He sent his first, and I'd sent mine, because obviously the amount of work we had to do. And my one went wrong. When I did mine, oh my God. I'd done the paint, I'd stripped it all, painted it, masked it, painted it, done all that. and I put the lacquer on, which wasn't my usual clear coat lacquer, and it melted the paint. I literally, a week's work down the pan. I had to do it again, record time. I had red eyes for 3 days because I burnt the candle at both ends. But anyway, we got this out to him, and I was panicking because I'd said to Dave Slottar, how long did it take yours to arrive? And he said 10 days, like exactly 10 days. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm on 9 days at that time. I remember it. So I thought, if it's not there tomorrow, so it didn't turn up the next day. The following day didn't turn up. I was like, oh my God, I hope this hasn't got lost, because it's got not only our car in there, it's got Tara's figures in there, it's got messages from people in there. But no, he got it. Look, he got it. And to all the members in my group, look at the smile on that guy's face. That's you guys. We did that. We did that as a group. We give him 10 million% on that car and those figures. So well done, team. Good effort. Okay, right. So that is a little look around some of the cars in Pat's new collection, and figures. It wasn't just the car collection, it is increased. Some nice stuff. And there was loads of other cars that got sent around, which was really cool. And so if you want me, I'm more than happy to post some of them out on the channel, or if you make me aware of where they are, I'll share them via social media or whatever you want to do. No problem at all. If you want to leave it lie, leave it lie. So let's, just before we go into the next section of the show, everyone, you're doing really well. Thank you for being here on Sunday Slot Car Sessions, a special tribute show to our best friend, Pat Bakkers. Sadly, if you're just joining the show now, he sadly succumbed and passed away on Friday. He put in a good shift. He'd give it a good beating. But at the end, it just got too much. He's in a better place now. No, he's in a more restful place now. His best place is at home with his family, of course. So, yeah. But look, there's a lot of people talking through the chat. There's a good idea. Scalextric should release Pat a car. Yep. Okay. We'll see if Stu, we know a guy who can scan things. So if we can get Stu to do that. Doug actually won a Pat, if anyone's wondering what we're talking about. So Doug said that he won one of those Pat figures there on your screen right now. And I'm very happy with that. Tara says, see, this is the cheekiness that he used to love. I still remember Pat's family when he was unwrapping the figures, talking about whether the figures would be controversial, risque, let's say. Awesome. Oh, fantastic, guys. Really nice stuff going on in there. Okay, so now I know that what time is it? What time do you finish your shift, Daz? Because it's time for track focus. Yes, this is the time I know that Pat particularly liked, because it gave him ideas of what to do on his track next, until he got his wood routed track, of course. And then all of these moving around track pieces all went to the dogs because, he got a wood routed track. So let's have a look. So in true fashion, this is a tribute show. So why we wouldn't make... Oh, actually, yeah, this is good. So what I have noticed, so normally we do a shot of the week, don't we? We do a shot of the week on track focus, and then we get into the tracks. What we got now for a special edition that we're doing today is track tributes. Track tributes, I've noticed in the last few weeks, have started to appear. Just subtle ways for big, strong, strapping grown men. Lots of testosterone floating around, God forbid we fall apart. We've got to find a way, people, that we can have a moment to reflect. We've got to have a moment in the future that we can remember. And I just saw these. There are a few more going out there, but I just wanted to bring these three because they're slightly different concepts between the three. Absolute genius. Jamal, we've been watching you put up your little fairground kind of play area for a while now, and it was just so endearing the other week, a couple of weeks back, when we saw Pat slots pop up in the scheme. It's just something that we'll see on screen as we're watching your channel moving forwards, watching what you're doing with your track updates and everything. And we're going to see that, and it's going to give us a nice memory. So thank you, Jamal, for putting in a track tribute on your track. That was just a nice touch. And again, you've got some figures. So Daz Hall here, he got a Pat and a Pete set of figures from Tara, and he's put them on his grandstand, and always going to be looking over Daz's bad driving on the racetrack. You know, he likes to think he's good, but, you know, we've seen him drive those Group C cars. He needs double magnets. I'm kidding, Daz. But, you know, this is the banter that, you know, Pat would give you, I'm going to give you. And then Rob Sale at the bottom, he's got his HO track set up at the back of the main track. He's created it and he's named it Pat Bakkers Trees Oval. Pat Bakkers 2 Trees Oval, I beg your pardon. That's just changed my view for a second. My new glasses are turning up a week tomorrow. I cannot wait. I got insurance, so I've got the ability to get a really expensive set of glasses. I feel like I've made it. So track tributes, beautiful. Right then, you ready for your first track? Let's go. So first track on Track Focus was this one from Pat. So Pat, when he sent me that email that I read out at the top of the show, if you're just joining me now, thanks for your company. This is a tribute show to Pat Bakkers. If you're wondering why there's a lot of talk about this guy called Pat. So when he sent me the email to say that he wanted to send me this car as a gift to say thank you for this show every week, this was the track that he was rocking at the time. Not many people know this track because when Pat come to life, for a lot of people, it was on screen. And when he come on screen, he had the long track, if you remember. Not to give it away, we might see it again in a couple of slides. But this track incorporated Scalextric, it incorporated HO, and it incorporated trains. So, oh, look at this. This is a lovely comment. Thank you, Emily. I'm so glad that Pat found his tribe in you guys. I'll always remember how excited he was telling us about this new channel at lunch. Quickly made his mark with you all being the most genuine, good bloke. Boom. Couldn't have said it any better myself. Thank you, Emily. That was such a sweet thing to leave on the screen for the tribute. So, yeah, this was his track. And he was telling me, he goes, yeah, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to do something different. I'm like, whoa, no, Pat, no. Come on, man. That track is pretty established. It looks good. Look, he's got scenery on there. He's got trees. He's got lights, LEDs, all sorts. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he's like, no, mate. I've got to go do something different. So that leads us into our next track on Track Focus here. Here we go. Oosh. And this is the one that a lot of people will remember as his first track. And I could not find, and I must have spent quite a bit of time actually looking for it. I wanted to try and find the images I needed and the references I needed without, where possible, asking people for it, for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's very sensitive and people have their own ways of mourning, grieving and digesting a loss. And secondly, I want it to be a real show where people can see things and go, oh, remember that, or oh yeah, Pat, you know, and have that feel good, that real memory blast. So this was something that turned my head, because obviously I saw his previous track with the train set in it, and I haven't had much experience to people doing a hybrid track with the train and with the track. The only people I'd seen doing this to date was Magnetic Racing, or sorry, think Scalextric on some of their corporate tracks, like at Mercedes-Benz World, where they've got the train going round the back of the Mini Brooklands circuit. Genius idea. So he was one of the first for me to incorporate train and slot cars. I'm not about to run out getting trains because they're too expensive for me to get into, but also I don't know anything about them. But he did. He had this insatious desire for things that moved, things that were mobile. He never sat still for 2 minutes himself, as you all know. But he had an insatiable desire to keep moving and build things that move. And I love this track because if you think it's just a glorified oval, think again, because you'd hope that he would be able to just rag around there. But those in the top corner, at the top of the screen at the far end, you've got the S's. They're kind of like triple chicane, S S S S as it goes in the S's. That caused him mayhem. It caused him utter problems to the point that he had to think about what he was doing, really. Does he do this? Does he carry on with this? How does he alter it? What does he change? But generally, the car was good. The track was good. And the thing that cracked me up that I slipped away from saying that I couldn't find a minute ago when I said I did try and find it was when he decorated the track and he just put one tree at the bottom end here, nearest to the front of the screen, as you can see. He put a tree there and went, yeah, that's all sceneried up now. Just like one lone tree. He's like, yeah, I've done the scenery now. And like walking off like he's achieved a full-on scenery show. But then, of course, he got itchy feet, didn't he? He become really entrenched into the hobby and he's seen what everyone's doing and he's been inspired by wood routed tracks. So we've got a wood routed track. He picked it up. This was taken from the video where he'd actually got it home. So this is day one, week one, hour one in his garage where he's got this, and he's like, blimey, he goes, it's like massive. I think, when someone looks at pictures and goes, yeah, that looks like it'll be a good track, and then when they get there and they're like, might need a bigger ute for this one. He was there. So he got this wood track, and then he took us through the journey of doing it up, and his family helped him out no end. His family were solid in this, and he says it so much, and there was only one thing that he was focused on the most was his family. And they all rallied in. They all come in and they all worked with him to get those two pieces of track to look decent. And that's what they did. They all come around. They were painting. They were sanding. They were moving things around. And they literally, what a bunch of troopers. They put in a shift. He hadn't got much time. Everyone knew. Well, do you know what? I don't know. I think I'm always the optimist, I I thought he might have been able to beat it. I did, and I let myself think that for so long. And I think that's probably why it's morning, Lionel. I think that's probably why it's even more difficult, because I wanted it so badly for him to beat it. So, well done, family. Shift come in. So then he took us to the next stage, which you might think, what is the next stage? Well, before the next stage, one of my comical moments with Pat, because I'd like to share a few of these with you if I can on the way, was watching this video that you can see the screen grab from here. And I'm like, Pat, what are all those Toby jugs on the back wall above the two windows, just underneath where the writing Pat Bakkers is? What are all those Toby jugs about? I mean, it's a bit random, isn't it? And he was laughing. He's like, only you could spot those, Pete. He goes, Katie and I, over the last a few years back, we had this thing where we'd go out to like vintage shops or car boot sales, and we'd see them, we'd pick them up, and we just started to randomly sort of collect them. He goes, I don't know how it started. He goes, but we got quite a few of them, haven't we? And I was like, yes, mate. It's just such an odd thing to see, like a ton of Toby jars in someone's shed. But the point being was he was talking us through all of the fine tuning that he'd made on his wood routed track, from putting in on the yellow, where the yellow arrow is, putting in the power supply. I appreciate it's a little bit dark, but there's a power supply under there. And what he was ultimately gearing to getting it as ready as possible for was for the best weekend ever. If you see the blue arrow points to the part of the track where there was a lip. There was a kind of lip, and he had to get it sanded out and flattened a little bit because it started to become a bit like the ramp on the Dukes of Hazzard, where they fly over with the Dixie Lee and do a barrel roll. And receiving cars from people like Slot R that are tuned to an inch of their lives and lower than a rattlesnake's backside, that hump become a problem. So what they did was they had the goal where the boys were coming over for the slot weekend in January. So they had to get that nailed. And Pat did get that nailed. He got that sorted out, because as the guys come over, you can see him here. You can actually see just in front of where Dick is standing there. He's the second guy along the track on the left. You've got Pat nearest to us, God bless you. And then you've got Dick after him right there. I don't know what he's doing. He's just doing Dick things. That's what Dick does. But no, and just on that note, I mean, we'll get into some of the stuff in a bit. There's more to do, people, so stay with it. We're having a great tribute here. I'm actually really enjoying having a moment like this with you guys. I'm even more humbled that Katie and her family are here with us as well. That is extra special. Extra special. Thank you. So Carl says, I remember this, Carl. Hilarious. So Carl said he remembered him blowing up his controllers. I do as well. He got them and he was so happy with it. I think it was the True Speed ones, wasn't it? And he got them, he blew them both up, and he had to take them wherever he went with them to get them fixed. Oh, Pat, mate, that is the sort of thing I do. That's why we get on. Turn up here half the time every week with no sound. I've got one job: turn up with sound and video. Oh, brilliant. Dick, I'm not putting that on the screen, but that's definitely that's definitely Pat's sense of humour. Oh dear, what did Fox and Wolf say here? Pat didn't just break them; he totally ruined them. If you're going to do it to the best of your ability. Absolutely right. Hello, McRae. How you doing? If you've got a name, I'll use it. Otherwise, I'm going to call you McRae. Had a wonderful time with his slot cars. His warm, welcoming nature brought us all together in his slot car journey. We will miss him. Thank you, Pete, for this tribute. Cheers. You are welcome. Right then. So as you see from the image here on the screen, he had a moment where he got to share some final moments. Let's not call them final moments. Let's call them he got to hang out with his pals there on a weekend in January. And this wasn't all of the friends, of course, because all of the friends are shown here on this picture with Pat being pointed out in an arrow. A special weekend at Pat's. Now, I applaud you, if you've not seen the video, to go and watch this. It's on Hughes Garage. And you can see all the shenanigans that went on over the weekend. It was really endearing. A full-on adrenaline-pumped weekend that was, because they went down there. They had proper racing. They had pit areas set up with pit boxes and tuning going on, just to give Pat this last opportunity to have a good club racing experience. Because I looked at it. Just take a drink. So I'm going to take a slower drink. I looked at this and I looked around the video and I thought, this actually is club racing. You got a load of old cronies there who are like about 700 years old, swamped around these little pit boxes with half a ton of potions and lubrications that are probably banned in 13 countries, all getting ready to go on the track and do battle. And then you got Pat walking around having the best time of his life, the absolute best, maybe second to his wedding day, and the day his kids were born. But in slot car language, the best day of his life. And it's thanks to this tribe of guys here to deliver that to him. You guys are at the top of my Christmas card list now. Thank you very much, guys. You really, really, I mean, he was beaming ear to ear. And he was I noticed he was getting tired a lot through the weekend. And that is testament to you guys. Not to the fact that he was getting ill. The fact that he was getting ill is a byproduct of happiness that you guys brought him. He was knackered because the total adrenaline rush from seeing all you guys there, the endorphins that were popping because he's looking in slot car boxes, he's seeing different cars, he's getting to race all of your different vehicles. He literally had the best time. You've got to take away what you did for that guy. You actually give him and his family as well, what you did for his family, the most mega time. The Aussie lot doing this for Pat is standalone, the slot car highlight of the year. Such great people. Legends, says Anders. True friends, Doug, that banded together, says Tara. Loved the picture of Pat and Husey. Yeah. They do look like convicts. Thanks, Doug. Perfect round to round me round. But, you know, I've got to say, around the world, there's this community of people and an outpouring of love and respect and that for him. And everyone, we're all friends. We're friends with people in America, Canada, Europe, you know, the wider in Australia and everywhere. But every group of friends has their own inner circle of trust. They have their own support. I can't remember what someone called it. You know, you have your own little group, like patriots, I would call it, for me, where you can talk about anything. It doesn't matter. And you can get a straight answer. After a bit of banter, obviously, you can get a straight answer. These guys here on the screen, these were Pat's right-hand men in the slot car hobby. Obviously, had friends and family outside of slot cars. Appreciate that. But in the hobby, these were the guys that had Pat's back. And the show that you guys put together, look at the happiness on Pat's face. He absolutely loved this show. And I think he got to do a few before he had to come back and focus on health, focus on his priorities, his family, his health, his recovery. You can't, if you could bottle that look on his face there, that happiness, the joy, the want, the actual will and want to be there doing that in that moment. If you can bottle that and sell it, man alive, you're never going to work another day in your life. Wow, what a great concept. It's a great show. And I don't know if there'll be one this Thursday. I don't know if it's too soon, but if you do, I know I'll be there in the chat supporting you guys. But yeah, thank you ever so much for setting this up, keeping this going as well. It could have very easily crumbled back in November when we got this horrific news, but Pat didn't want that. Pat told you guys in Pat, you know, I'll waste a few quid on it. But I can imagine the language on it. If you say, oh, all right, look, let's just drift it away a bit while we see until you get better or whatever happens. We can just take a rest and a chill pill on it. Pat's like, not on your Nelly, he goes. And so the boys are rolling forwards. And thank you ever so much for keeping that going. I know that meant something to Pat, and that gave him strength in numbers. Remember, there's another 5% there. So all of these things through those late stages, the build up to the inevitable and the most difficult, darkest, grimmest, saddest, desperate times, he always had someone on this show calling him a plonker or calling me a plonker, which always used to be one of his favourites too. Someone calling me a plonker. So no, that was all cool. But no, you guys, you give him a lease of life. You give him that energy that he needed in those times, and that was really cool, really cool. Right. So, just for a moment, guys, I actually just it's a bit unprofessional, but I just need to take a couple of minute comfort break. Um, yeah, just need to take a couple of seconds comfort break. Just to use the call of nature, let's call it. So give me 2 minutes. I'm going to be right back, and I'll leave you with a slide. Just a moment. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'm back. There we go. Right then. So we have got Chris. Yeah, love it. Okay, so here we go. Right, we're getting to the end of the tribute now. Okay, so I'm just going to make myself a little bit smaller. I know what's coming. Um, yeah, we're a bit off the end of the show actually. Don't panic. Right, so here we go. So Pat was loved around the world, and tributes appearing across social media from the whole world shows us how much he was integral to the global slot car community. Here's a few. So what I'd noticed is because of the time frame, I woke up and what we got going on was my WhatsApp group, messenger group, every notification just was it had exploded. This news traveled fast. So what you have is there's a lot of, and I'm not going to read them all out, don't worry. I just want to highlight how important he was to so many people out there. It's going to be better to get that out of the way so you can actually see the comment. I liked where I've put the arrow. How unfortunate I put my face next to where the arrow is. It says, so weird, never met Pat, but feel like I know him well with all the banter and voice notes sent between us. Makes me chuckle thinking about them. Yeah, that's exactly sums up exactly what it was. Half the world has never met Pat, but they felt like they knew him. So my WhatsApp group, people's WhatsApp groups have gone crazy with tributes. Discord has gone crazy with tributes. There's a special group page set up in the slot yard on Discord where you can leave your tributes, your well wishes, etc. Um, of course, social media, Facebook has gone off, and YouTube as well. So as you can see on the far right hand side, Rob Swift has made a has remembered Pat in his own way. You've got people doing tribute videos. Harry, Slot Cars, Scales, RC and Slot Cars. You've got Rahul there. Conquest Racing Club. I did notice as well after the time of making the show, so the Slot Car Daddy or SCD Raceway, Ted, also put in a tribute. Nico, Slot Car Dude, has also put out a tribute. I just wanted to mention those two because I hadn't got them into these slides in particular. Okay, so what we've got to think about is I'm going to take myself off the screen when I do this. I need to get this right. Just bear with me a second in the background. Just set this up. Because it's important that whilst we I'm pressing the wrong buttons here. I'm going to play this clip from one of Pat's videos. He says, trying to get it to work. I'm just going to set it up. It didn't work, so I'm re-adding it. So how this is going to work is I'm going to play this. Then I have a final slide. And then we're going to close the show. Okay. Okay. Right. So, right, I've got my ducks in a row now. So let me just come on it. Right. All being well, this is going to work. So I'm going to play this few minutes from Pat. I think it's a really poignant thing to hear because it sounds like it's for about now. Then I'm going to play. I've got a picture of Pat for a final word, and the final part will be about 1 minute 40 seconds long, and that's me saying goodbye to Pat. So let's start with this, then we'll have a slide, then we'll have an exit, and then I'm going to wish you a good day. So just ahead of that, Katie family, so sorry for your loss, Pat. We love Pat, and anything you guys need, let Dick know, and he'll sort it. No, joking. We're all clubbed together. We'll help you out, whatever you need. But you know, genuinely, we love you guys.
Everything is, but I am staying positive. And I'm loving the support I'm getting from everybody, family and friends and people on YouTube. And I'm going to mention those people now. Obviously, family and friends, who's my wife Katie and family and friends from home. But the YouTube family that I have as well, which is, I'll start off with Dave Slot, who's a friggin' awesome bloke, and he's probably, I think he was the first person I may have told, and he's just done me a hell of a lot of favours and done a lot of things, and he's been full support for me. Pete Brown, also Pete Brown's support, everyone. There are people who don't know who are going to send support to me, I know, and I thank you. I also want to thank all the subscribers, everyone who's always been there for me with the positive and stuff like that. And it's still going to be positive, you know, I'm still trying to be positive. Then we've got friends from other sides of the world, like Shotgun Dave, who is a fucking awesome bloke, right? I love that guy. As Dave would say, I love you in the most manly way possible. So and it's the same, I feel that for all of you guys. So I love you all in the most manliest way possible. Harry Wise, Home Racing World. Harry's been there. He's been messaging me basically every day. Another fucking awesome bloke. Eric Wildman, same thing. You know, I was talking to him today. I'm not sure whether he knew, you know, and then he says, "Oh, you know, I know, Pat, but at least you never have to go to work again." And he starts laughing and chuckling in his way, and geez, he made me laugh. And thanks so much, Eric Wildman. You're a friggin' top bloke, mate. And you all laugh. Who else? Look, I'm going to forget people, you know what I mean? But and then you've got all the Aussie guys here, like, you know, I gave up on this, you know, and Shane Hubbs, he jumped on the phone straight away. He goes, "What are you doing?" "No way, we're coming to do it for you. We're going to do it. We're going to get it all ready." And I thought, "No, bugger this, I'll get it ready. You just come and wire it when you're ready." So Shane Hubb, mate, fucking awesome bloke. Thank you so much, Shane. Shane Hughes, Hughesy, UC Slot Cars Dave, friggin' everyone knows that's Hub's brother, friggin' awesome, man, awesome. DG Raceway, have I forgotten anyone? Hughesy, Hub, DG, Hughesy, Hub, DG, UC, you know, Jeff, you know, Hub's dad, Hub and Dave's dad. You know, you're all like, and everyone's like a family to me, you know, and it means a hell of a lot. And I've got a lot of support, and I wouldn't be as happy, well, you know, as happy as can be. I wouldn't be in that way right now if it wasn't for everyone. Slot R and everybody who's been so nice to me. Lee's Slot Cars straight away sent me a message. You know, Lee, you're a fucking top bloke, man. And I'll be watching all of you, so I might not be commenting, and I might not, but I'm still there. You know what I mean? I won't be making videos as much, or for a while, because I don't know what I'll be going through and stuff like that. But at least I got my dream, you know what I mean? I've got my dream here. Obviously my family and everything, but hey, I ain't going anywhere. But my dream slot car track, you know, so we'll get that wired up with the timing system and everything right. And that's kept me going too, you know what I mean? I mean, people say, "Oh, slot cars." Well, fuck yeah, it is slot cars, and I love it, and I love every second of it. And hell, have I made a family with all you guys, you know what I mean? I love you all, mate. So, yeah, thanks very much, everybody. And I'll chat and talk to you as soon as I can. And stay positive, smile, and be good to your family, guys. See yous.
Hey guys, how you going? Welcome to the first episode of the Pat's, what do I call it?
Everyone is chasing the feeling of a win.
No matter what happens, you are all winners. Tonight is our moment for redemption.
Better not blow it.